Have you ever wondered why some days feel like a battle you never signed up for? Why your mind feels heavy even when nothing is visibly wrong? Why it seems like the world keeps pulling you into noise, chaos, and drama you never asked for? In a world that never sleeps, peace has become the rarest form of luxury. But here's the truth. Peace is not something you stumble upon by accident. It's something you protect fiercely and deliberately every single day. In this video, we're going to explore the art of protecting your peace through Stoic wisdom and practical modern strategies. If you value your mental clarity, your emotional stability, and your personal growth, make sure you subscribe right now. Because together, we're building a life where your inner world remains calm, no matter how loud the outer world gets. 1. Identifying peace leaks. Before you can protect your peace, you must know where it's leaking away. Think of your peace as a water tank. Every time you deal with unnecessary arguments, toxic news, or emotional vampires, a little more drains out. If you've ever ended a day feeling mentally exhausted without knowing exactly why, it's often because you've let too many small leaks go unchecked. These aren't always dramatic events. They're often the subtle, daily intrusions that chip away at your clarity and composure. Peace leaks often hide in plain sight. Endless scrolling on social media, overcommitment to people who drain you, or constantly consuming negative stories. Each one might seem small, but together they erode your mental state. It's not just about avoiding the obviously harmful. Sometimes the greatest threats to your peace are the ones you've normalized. That extra hour on your phone before bed might not seem like much, but if it leaves you feeling restless and mentally cluttered, it's a leak. That harmless conversation with a friend who constantly complains might not feel like an attack, but it's slowly wearing down your emotional resilience. The Stoics taught that awareness is the first step to mastery. Marcus Aurelius wrote about guarding the mind like a fortress because once you let in chaos, it takes over. In his meditations, he warned against allowing your mind to become a public square where anyone can throw their words and emotions. If you imagine your mind as a fortress, every leak is like a hidden crack in the wall, unnoticed until the enemy is already inside. Today, make a list of what's quietly draining you. Write it down because the act of naming the leak robs it of its invisibility. Until you see the leaks, you can't fix them. Identifying peace leaks is not an exercise in paranoia. It's an act of self-respect. Too many people try to fix their stress by adding new habits without first removing the forces that keep them pulling them backward. If you try to meditate every morning but spend your evenings drowning in online arguments, you're filling your cup only to pour it right back out. Before you start building more peace, you need to patch the holes in your tank. This is the work most people skip because it's less glamorous than adopting new routines, but it's the work that changes everything. The truth is, you can't outsource the responsibility of guarding your peace. Friends can help, therapy can guide, books can inspire, but at the end of the day, no one else can feel your inner calm for you. This is why the Stoics placed so much value on personal accountability. They understood that life will always have storms, but it's your job to make sure your boat isn't already half sinking before the waves even arrive. Identifying peace leaks is how you keep your boat ready for whatever the sea throws at you. 2. Saying no to drama. Drama is addictive, but it's also poison. It disguises itself as entertainment, gossip, or the need to stay informed, but it comes at the cost of your peace. Like sugar, it gives you a rush in the moment, but leaves you worse off in the long run. People often underestimate how much energy drama steals because it doesn't always feel like work. It feels like involvement, participation, or staying relevant. But every time you indulge in drama, you pay with your focus, your emotional stability, and your ability to think clearly. Stoicism teaches emotional discipline, choosing where your attention and energy go. Epictetus reminded his students that you cannot control the world, but you can control how you respond to it. That means not attending every argument you're invited to, not engaging with gossip, and not feeding cycles of negativity. This is not coldness, it's clarity. It's the refusal to let your mind be a playground for trivial conflicts. When you stop responding to drama, people will either learn to respect your peace or they'll remove themselves from your life. Either outcome is a win. Saying no to drama is saying yes to your well-being. Remember, not every battle deserves your sword. Some fights are better left unfought, not because you're weak, but because you understand the cost. The Stoics would call this choosing your battles according to reason, not impulse. There is power in walking away, in allowing an argument to end not with a victory, but with silence. Silence, after all, is often the most disarming reply you can give to someone expecting a reaction. To truly say no to drama, you have to be willing to endure the discomfort of not defending yourself, not correcting every misconception, and not proving your point to people who don't actually want the truth. This is where the ego gets tested, because your ego wants to win, to be right, to have the last word. Stoicism trains you to rise above that urge, to value inner stability over outer validation. In time, you'll notice that saying no to drama doesn't just protect your peace, it strengthens your character. In a world where drama is monetized, where media thrives on outrage and social media rewards public disputes, your refusal to participate becomes a quiet rebellion. It's choosing sovereignty over your mind in a society that profits from distraction. Every time you walk away from unnecessary conflict, you are training yourself to live above the noise, to move through life like a steady river while others thrash about in rapids of their own making.
3. Energetic boundaries. Peace is not just about avoiding negativity. It's about protecting your energy. The people you surround yourself with, the conversations you have, and the places you spend time all influence your mental state. Energy is invisible but deeply real, and you can feel it shift the moment you walk into a room or hear someone speak. If you're not intentional about where your energy flows, it will get scattered across obligations, distractions, and other people's problems. Energetic boundaries mean deciding what you will and will not allow into your mental and emotional space. You can be kind without being a doormat, and generous without being depleted. The key is remembering that your energy is finite. Just as you wouldn't let someone siphon gas from your car every day, you can't allow people to constantly draw from your emotional reserves without replenishment. This is not selfishness, it's sustainability. You cannot pour into others from an empty cup, and setting boundaries is how you keep that cup full. The Stoics believed in self-governance, being the ruler of your own mind. Seneca wrote that no man is free who is not master of himself. Boundaries are the walls that protect your inner kingdom. Without them, your peace becomes subject to the moods, demands, and expectations of others. When you set boundaries, you're declaring that you control your energy, not the other way around. You're saying, I decide where my attention goes, and I choose to spend it where it matters most. Protecting your energy is not always about saying no. Sometimes it's about creating conditions where your yes is powerful and intentional. That might mean limiting time with certain people, creating technology-free hours, or reserving parts of your day for quiet reflection. It's about structuring your life so that your energy is invested in alignment with your values. The Stoics would see this as living according to nature, not in the sense of wilderness, but in the sense of living in harmony with your own nature. Ultimately, energetic boundaries are a form of self-respect. When you respect your energy, you make choices that preserve it. This often means disappointing people who expect unlimited access to you. But the alternative is disappointing yourself, which is far more costly. With strong, energetic boundaries, you can move through the world with calm authority, unaffected by the storms around you. You become like a lighthouse, rooted, steady, and shining, no matter how rough the sea becomes.
4. Solitude and self-repair. In a noisy world, solitude is medicine. It's the time when you realign, recharge, and hear your own voice again. The constant hum of notifications, opinions, and obligations pulls you away from your own center. In solitude, you step out of the current and allow yourself to float, free from the demands of others. It's where you can breathe without rushing, think without interruption, and feel without having to explain. True solitude is not merely the absence of company, it's the presence of self. Solitude is not loneliness, it's a deliberate choice to step away from the noise so you can repair your spirit. This can be as simple as a walk alone, journaling, meditation, or reading something nourishing. These moments do not demand an audience or approval. They exist purely for you. In these spaces, the mind stops being a battlefield of competing voices and becomes a sanctuary of clarity. You may not even realize how drained you've become until you give yourself the gift of uninterrupted time. Seneca reminded us that time alone is when we truly meet ourselves. If you're always in the company of others, you risk losing touch with your own thoughts. The Stoics understood that a man who cannot stand alone is a man who has not yet built a firm foundation within. When you are constantly in the presence of others, you might unknowingly adopt their moods, their fears, and their ambitions as your own. Solitude allows you to sift through these influences and decide what truly belongs to you. Solitude is not withdrawal from life, it is preparation for it. Just as an athlete must rest between training sessions to rebuild strength, the mind and spirit require periods of stillness to recover from the frictions of daily living. Without these intervals, you risk living reactively, always responding to the next demand rather than acting from a place of grounded purpose. Alone time is not wasted time, it is strategic investment in your ability to engage meaningfully with the world. Think of solitude as a mirror, one that reflects not just your appearance, but your essence. In the quiet, you can see your fears without distraction, your dreams without distortion, and your values without compromise. This reflection may be uncomfortable at first because it reveals the truths you've been avoiding. But this discomfort is where the repair begins. It is in this honest encounter with yourself that healing takes root and transformation becomes possible. Solitude also strengthens resilience. When you know how to find comfort in your own company, you become less dependent on external validation. You are no longer at the mercy of other people's approval or presence to feel whole. This independence does not make you cold or detached, it makes your connections richer because they are built on choice, not need. You give love more freely when it is not a substitute for self-worth. Ultimately, solitude is a declaration, I am enough as I am. In a culture that glorifies busyness and constant engagement, choosing solitude is a quiet act of rebellion. It's saying that your inner world matters as much, if not more, than the world outside. And from that place of inner repair, you return to life not depleted, but restored, ready to give your best without losing yourself in the process.
5. Creating a peace-based lifestyle. Protecting your peace isn't a one-time act. It's a lifestyle. It's in the way you choose your environment, your habits, your people, and even your morning routine. Peace is not something you stumble upon. It is something you actively create. It means asking yourself each day, what brings me calm? What disrupts it? And then having the courage to remove what drains you, even if the world calls it normal or necessary. A peace-based lifestyle is intentional. It's built on gratitude, minimal exposure to negativity, and daily practices that keep you grounded, like exercise, reflection, or prayer. It is a steady rhythm of choices that prioritize well-being over chaos, depth over distraction. You begin to curate not just your home, but your mind. You fill it with things that inspire growth and let go of anything that stirs unnecessary unrest. The Stoic path is not about escaping the world, but about moving through it with unshakable calm. Life will never stop presenting challenges, but you can choose how you meet them. A peace-based lifestyle does not shield you from storms. It anchors you so deeply that the storms cannot uproot you. You stop chasing constant stimulation and start valuing the quiet joy of balance. This is not passivity, it is mastery over your reactions. Creating this kind of life often requires rethinking your relationship with time. You begin to guard your schedule as fiercely as you guard your energy. You leave space for slowness, for savoring, for conversations that go beyond the surface. You realize that rushing through life is not the same as living it. Peace comes not from doing more, but from doing the right things with presence and purpose. Environment plays a crucial role in this lifestyle. Your surroundings shape your state of mind far more than you might realize. Clutter, whether physical or emotional, creates tension. Minimalism, in this sense, is not just about owning fewer things, but about removing what is unnecessary so the necessary can shine. You design your spaces to be havens, not holding cells, choosing beauty and order over noise and excess. The people you allow into your life are equally important. A peace-based lifestyle cannot thrive in the company of constant drama. You begin to recognize the difference between those who bring harmony and those who bring turbulence. This doesn't mean you cut off everyone who disagrees with you. It means you learn to engage with others without absorbing their storms. You choose relationships that nurture rather than drain. Above all, a peace-based lifestyle is sustainable. It's not a temporary retreat or a weekend detox. It's a way of being that becomes your default. It is the quiet confidence that you can move through the world without being consumed by it. When your life is rooted in peace, the chaos around you loses its power. You no longer react to every disturbance, you respond with intention. And in that stillness, you find the strength to live fully.
The world will always be chaotic. People will always have opinions. News cycles will always be loud, and challenges will always arise. But your peace is yours. It's sacred, and it's worth defending. Start small. Identify the leaks, refuse the drama, protect your energy, embrace solitude, and build habits that strengthen your inner calm. This is how you create an unshakable self. If you're ready to protect your peace and take back your power, subscribe now and join a community dedicated to living with clarity, courage, and calm in a world that tries to pull you in every direction. Your peace is not up for negotiation. Guard it like your life depends on it, because in many ways, it does.